Hey Ed, how are you this morning?
Hey, Kevin, doing great. How are you doing today?
Good. So we brought you in today to talk about gift funds, and Ed Whitehouse is from CMG Home Loans. He's one of my preferred lenders, and he has some interesting programs. And at the end, we're going to talk about a program he has dealing with gift funds. So let's just dive into it. Gift funds. Why don't you tell us what gift funds are, Ed?
Yeah, well, first, Kevin, I just want to say thank you for the opportunity here. I love what you're doing with your YouTube channel and
Absolutely.
educating the public. There's a lot to learn in the real estate realm here, and just to have this information put readily available for people to do their research and become more educated. I applaud you and keep up the great work here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Um, and for that, when we talked a few weeks ago, I wanted, I think a good topic of conversation that we were discussing was the down payment, and how tough it is right now for home buyers, especially first time home buyers. I think it's the greatest challenge for home ownership right now. For a lot of people looking to buy homes is that down payment. And so we started talking about gift funds and how that's becoming more and more popular. It's been a huge help for maybe some of the older generations, friends and family, to help with family members to help accelerate the time it takes to be able to have that down payment. So gift funds, these are fun. This is something a borrower can use from family members, and it can help in their aid in their down payment to buy a house.
Can gift funds be used for closing costs as well as down payment? I mean, we're looking at, say, a $500,000 house. You're probably looking at a $15,000 down payment, and you could be looking for another $10,000 in closing costs. So that would be about, 25,000 someone might have to bring to the closing table.
Yeah, of course. So a family member can definitely help with the closing costs, the total cash to close figures. So that's your down payment plus your closing costs. So it gets expensive. I
Sure
live in New
does.
Hampshire. Yeah, I live in New Hampshire, so those closing costs can be even higher than in Massachusetts. So pricing up between the two, it's something that a lot of home buyers, especially first time home buyers, don't account for, is the closing costs. So when we do mention it can be an additional 3 to 5% of the loan amount, it's a big hurdle to overcome. So yeah, having the gift funds from a family member can definitely help with that total cash to close.
Good, good. So, gift funds have been around for a long time. I mean, I was a mortgage originator in the early 2000s, and gift funds were definitely usable. But I think one of the big problems with the gift funds is people don't realize that there's a process to it. They can't just inject money into your bank account at the last second for you to use for down payment and closing costs. So why don't you explain kind of what the process is for gift funds and how you document that?
Okay, yeah. So I mean, gift funds have to come from a family member, and it's typically like when we say a family member for a conventional Fannie Freddie, what they're looking for, it could be a parent, a child, sibling, grandparent, aunt, uncle, niece, nephew, cousins, in-laws,
So
domestic partner.
a blood relation.
Exactly. Yep. So I mean, there's definitely not anyone can gift a person to help buy a house. So we definitely have to follow those rules in place right there. And so when it comes to getting a gift from a family member, these are funds that ahead of time, we actually, when we're at the application process and we're talking total numbers for what it would take for the cash to close. At that point, it's a good idea for the loan officer to get a sense of where the source of funds are coming from their client, just to make sure that it's fully covered. Obviously, we want to do our pre-approvals and make sure that those assets all look good and the funds are there. and most of the time, it's a good idea. I mean, it's always a good idea just to check and see if there's a portion of it that's going to be gifted from a family member. And at that point in time, it's also it's a good idea to explain what the process is like and what that entails to get that gift and for us to be able to use that as a source of funds for the down payment.
When we talk about source, it's the bank wants to source the funds. They want to know where they're coming from, and that also means you've got to track the money coming out of the gift account, whether it's a parent or a sibling. They want to see the money coming out and moving into your account. They need to account for every penny and every step along the way. Am I correct?
That's right. Yeah. I mean, a lot's changed since 2008, and there's a lot of compliance that we have to work with, and obviously anti-money laundering is a big deal. So we do have to source funds and make sure those everything that is being used for that down payment is clean funds, and that's even gift funds that come in from friends and family. So at that point in time, when we get that gift, there's a letter that will generate for the donor to complete and then submit back to us to the underwriter. And at that point, we also ask for a 1-day transaction history of the donor's account, and we'll see just to make sure that those funds that have been gifted are clean to use.
Okay. Well, and so I think it's important to note here is if you're going to have someone gift you money, and let's clarify, it needs to be a gift, and the letter is going to state that it's a gift and it's not a loan. But I think it's important to tell your mortgage originator right from the start that you're going to be using gift funds. I know a big mistake a lot of borrowers make is they think it's their money. They can just inject it in the account, and it causes problems when it comes closing time. So talk to your mortgage originator right away and tell them that you plan on using gift funds from a family member. Am I correct in saying that, Ed?
100%. Yes. Never try to hide anything from the lender, because it's only going to kind of come back and hurt them down the road. It's great. It's always good to be transparent, and if you have questions or concerns, that's what we're here for. We're here to answer those and make sure that we're navigating and working within the guidelines that we can work with to be able to fund that loan for our clients. So yeah, absolutely, 100%. Don't ever try to hide any of that, and ask about the process. And again, I mentioned earlier, like us as loan officers, we should be proactive in asking those questions during the application process.
True,
so there's no surprise. There's 3 days before closing that there was some kind of gift fund involved that we now have to go and figure out how we're going to make that work with the cash to close figures.
So just to kind of wrap up this piece, there's a process that needs to be followed for gift funds, and every penny needs to be accounted for that's moving in and out of your account. And that's why, it's important for the loan originator to know up front that gift funds are being used to fund the down payment and or closing costs. Am I correct?
100%. Yes, 100%. There's a full process, and when you start that pre-approval process, you'll understand and you'll work with your loan officer to be able to work within the parameters that we have to work with, and we'll get it done.
So the next question is there a limit to how much someone can gift on a particular loan program, or at least the conventional type loan programs? Is there a limit?
For a conventional loan, no, there's no limit. They can gift as much as they want to, and
okay.
There's no limit whatsoever within a conventional loan program.
Now, when we talk about loan programs, do most of the loan programs for first-time homebuyers, do they allow for gifting? Are there some that don't?
For first-time homebuyer, like conventional? Yeah, no, there's no limit when it comes to a conventional program for receiving a gift from family and friends.
No, I'm actually asking, are there loan programs that don't allow gifts?
Don't allow gifts? Oh no, I mean, there's a little bit more restriction when it comes to like your government loans on FHA
Okay.
and VA. Yeah. I mean, even when it comes to like a VA, that's like a 0% down program. So it's one of those things where there's still closing costs involved, of course. And it's something where it's considered like an interested party would be someone that cannot be gifting funds for down payment. So that'd be like a real estate agent, broker, developer, anyone that's an interested party involved with that transaction. They would not be able to gift those funds to their client.
So interestingly, you had talked about the gift coming from a family member. I've had a few situations in the recent past where an employer actually gifted money, and it was allowed because they had a vested interest in this person succeeding in life, I guess. Are you familiar with that at all, or have you ever been in that situation?
What was it? Conventional program, or was it?
I don't really remember, but I
Okay.
know it boiled down to is the employer had a vested interest in this person, and that's what it boiled down to. There was a vested interest in this person.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, like
So you're not
I'll have to
familiar with that.
well, I know within the FHA, that allows gifts from employers, labor
Okay.
unions, charitable organizations. So
Oh, okay.
depending on the program, if it was an FHA, which are pretty common, that's acceptable.
Okay.
Mhm.
So, I recently did something on uh, down payment assistance. Can these be used in combination with down payment assistance?
Yeah, I mean, we can definitely if it's a down payment assistance program that works in with like the conventional Fannie Freddie guidelines. Yeah, absolutely. We can still use the gift funds with the down payment assistance program to
Okay,
cover some
so this is a question I don't know if we can answer thoroughly, but are there any tax ramifications to the person gifting the money or to the person receiving them?
So as the lender, we do not report those gift funds. So it's something that that client, that borrower should talk to their CPA or financial advisor to see the tax ramifications of what could be possible. But as the lender, we don't report those gift funds. So as I can say, we can't. It's not 100% sure if there would to be, and that's why it would be a good idea to talk to their accountant.
My understanding, just because I've gone through it recently myself, is there's a lifetime gift that someone can give to a person. I know this. I was dealing down in Connecticut. It's very high. It's like $6 million. I think in Massachusetts is like $1 million. So we're typically not talking about down payment assistance of $1 million. So it does need to be reported by the person giving the gift. And then my understanding is that each person is allowed to receive so much in gifts tax-free over a period of a lifetime. And then there's certain size gifts. I believe it's 17,000 that doesn't even have to be reported. So it is something definitely you should check with your CPA and make sure you understand any ramifications.
Exactly.
With gift funds. But I think on the whole, you're pretty much all right. But definitely talk to a CPA. So,
absolutely.
Is there anything else that before we get into this specific loan program you have, that you wanted to relay as far as gift funds go?
I mean, gift funds can definitely be. I think that's going to be something that's going to be more and more common as we work with, and there's going to be the rules constantly change. And I can honestly see it. It's going to be important as we are now having the younger generations, younger millennials, and younger Gen Z that are now entering the home ownership phases of their life, and what I mean, a lot of their parents and grandparents are the boomer, maybe Gen X generation, and they have some equity to work with. So we're going to be seeing
absolutely. I think in this real estate climate, with the, the median house price in Massachusetts now is, I think, hitting about 550. That's a big chunk of change buyers need to come up with. And, we talk about first-time home buyers, but I believe gift funds can be used for any buyer. Am I correct?
For sure.
Okay.
You're correct. Yep.
And so I think it's a great opportunity. Like you said, you got maybe mom and dad downsizing, their house is almost paid off. $30,000 might not be much to loan one of their children to buy a house when they're walking with $700,000 or $800,000. And so I do see that as being a big opportunity in the real estate market in the next couple of years.
I do too. I think a lot of parents and grandparents are concerned for their kids and maybe grandparents because they see homeownership now as something that's not as achievable as it was maybe in their generation. So I think it's gonna be a lot of the older generation stepping up and then helping bridge that gap that we're seeing now, that affordability.
Absolutely.
Issue.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So when we talked, you were explaining a very unique and interesting program to obtain gift funds. And why don't you tell us what the name of it is and how it works?
Sure. Yeah. So CMG has this exclusive program called HomeFundIt, and it sounds like it's a new program, but it's actually been around since the early 2000s. This was a program that was created by our owner of the company, Christopher Matthew George. It stands for CMG, actually. And he's very innovative when it comes to seeing the challenges of homeownership and offering some different solutions. So this is a proprietary program that we offer, and it's a form of down payment gifting, and it's created so it's actually something that's where a home buyer can actually create this online down payment gifting campaign, and they can use this as the challenge of getting enough saved up for a down payment is becoming more of a challenge. They can actually again lean on their friends and family, and they can use this program to help with the acceleration process of creating getting enough saving up enough for a down payment.
So with this, I'm sorry, what did you call this program?
It's called HomeFundIt.
HomeFundIt?
HomeFundIt.
So with this program, it doesn't have to be a family member, correct? It can be anybody.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Exactly. And that's the beauty of this program right here is it's an online down payment gifting platform that they can use their social media to pump out their campaign. And friends and family can go on and click the link and maybe whether it's $5, maybe $100, $20, everything adds up. And it can help with just like their down payment. And this has become a huge tool for big celebration causes, for like a wedding, for a graduation. So a lot of we're seeing people getting married nowadays, maybe already living together. And they may already have their stuff in place. They don't want the toaster oven; they want the house. So this is
seriously, I'd rather have a house than a salad spinner.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, and so people we're helping a lot of bride and grooms, or I'm sorry, we're helping a lot of engaged couples with their next step towards getting married and their next jump into their next phase of life, potential homeownership, and using their wedding as most people are, what do we get them? What do we get them? And if they create this campaign, maybe have like a QR at the table, hey, we'd love to buy a house, help us, with a gift towards our house. And a great thing about this is CMG is actually has a 2-to-1 match. Every dollar gifted, we're giving them up to $2,000 for a first-time homebuyer grant. So that's a $2,000. It could be up to a $2,000 first-time homebuyer grant on top of what.
So if someone gets $1,000 in gift funds, you'll give them $2,000 as a grant.
Yes, 2000s coming from CMG on top of the $1,000 gift that they've received from their friends and family. So
Okay.
it's a help. It's another extra. It's an additional help for their amount of time it's going to take for their down payment.
So what's the underlying loan program under this? I mean, we had talked about Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac and funds needed to be from family members. What loan program is behind this?
So this is a convent. It could be any program, to be honest. We can use it
Okay.
for
Okay.
conventional,
Interesting.
VA, FHA. So it's capped at $5,000 gift per donor, and it's an online gift. So again, another beautiful thing about this program is there's no seasoning requirement. So
Okay.
we don't require any kind of bank statement from the donor, which can always be a difficult conversation as you know, as I was saying, a traditional gift. We usually need to see a 1-day transaction history coming from the donor, and that can be like a challenge just because people don't like to pass over their financial information willingly. So at this point, it eliminates that step in the process, as they would not need to actually do that part.
So one last question about the program. Say you don't buy a house, what happens with that money?
Yeah, so it's their money. It goes into an account that they can then have wired to their bank account anytime. Obviously, they wouldn't get the 2,000. They wouldn't get the 2-to-1
Okay.
from us. So you know that's money that they can then wire out to their bank account.
So it's
anytime.
basically like anybody gifting them money, and it's their money, is what it sounds like.
Yeah, exactly. It's their
Okay.
account. They can withdraw at any time they'd like. I did mention also it's become a popular program for college graduates too. We've had a few people where right when it's close to their graduation day and they're about to have their grad party, they have the link to their HomeFundIt campaign. And the beautiful thing about this is if that college graduate lands a job right when they're out of once after they graduate, we can actually we can help them with buying a house as soon as they land that job, because we can actually use their 2-year transcripts from school as work history. So let's say they then, you know, they get some help from friends and family with their HomeFundIt account. They have plenty put aside for that down payment. So now they have the down payment part in check. They have the job in check. And you know, as long as their credit's looking good, they're good to go. They're ready to buy a house.
Well, I really see this as a great program because I do run across a lot of people who have the income to be able to afford the loan or the mortgage every month. You know, they're paying, you know, $3,000-4,000 a month in rent anyways. And this is a great opportunity to get a leg up and get that house. You know, one of the things that I tell first time home buyers particularly is get into the market. The longer you hang on to the house, the more beneficial it is going to be to you. You know, if you can get in early, you'll just reap the benefits 10 years from now. And it doesn't matter if the market goes up, down. You know, the market does cycle up and down, but eventually you're going to come out ahead. And I see this program as great. You know, we've got people coming out of college that are making some decent income, and you know, with some down payment and closing cost assistance, they can buy their first house or take a couple getting married. Lots of times they're getting married later in life, and both of them are established. They already have that salad spinner. They already have the toaster.
Yeah.
So why not put the money, the gifts towards something that is really relevant in their lives, which is usually buying a house is one of the first things that you want to do after getting married.
Yeah, I mean, you're totally right, Kevin. I mean, from what we see with the appreciation rate that we've been seeing the last couple of years, it's if the sooner they're ready to buy, the better. And with getting a gift, a down, you know, or using a program like HomeFundIt, it helps. It helps rapidly with that time it's going to take to save, which then makes that home possibly cost more down the road. So yeah, getting to that house sooner, start getting that equity sooner. It's a great idea. We have plenty of data to support for decades to see where real estate's been going. And I think it's only seeing a trend of where it's going to continue to go.
Yeah. Well, let's wrap it up here. A lot of great information here. So Ed's information will be in the description for this video. I'll also have it embedded in this video, but also, Ed, why don't you shoot me the link to the loan program we were talking about here so people can check it out. And
For sure.
of course, Ed or I are always available for questions. And Ed, thank you for being on today.
Oh, it was a pleasure, Kevin. Thank you so much for having me. It was great to talk to you, and looking forward to sharing some more info on the HomeFundIt program. Please feel free to reach out to Kevin and I.
Great.
Awesome.